All right, welcome to Our Generation with Melissa Shaw, where we educate, empower, and inspire. And we are here again with episode number 2 with Ms. Rhonda.
Hello, hello.
Yes, has it been a year or six?
It has been a year
Wow,
and almost a month. Yes.
wow. So
Mhm.
lots happened since the last time,
A lot, a
but
lot,
that's
a
good. That's
lot.
what we want.
All good stuff, mostly
Yeah,
good stuff. But
yeah.
yeah, a
So
lot has happened.
perfect. So can you just kind of introduce yourself to everyone again and let them know
Absolutely.
what you do?
Yes. So I am Rhonda Taylor. I am the founder and owner of Startup Sprint LLC. I am a business development and an entrepreneurial coach, and I help entrepreneurs to go from ideation to launch in 90 days and get their business not only getting it off the ground and launch, but procuring their first client within that time frame if they follow what I tell them to
Yeah, that's a
do.
disclaimer.
That's it. That's it right there.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So the last time we met, you was just launching
Yes.
your
Yes. So
startup sprint, right?
I was just launching Startup Sprint, and I had another company, Idea to Empire,
Yes,
which is in the metaverse type stuff that I
yes.
was trying to get off the ground as well. And I had to let that go. And
Oh,
so I have a
okay.
whole story
Oh,
about
wow. Yeah, I didn't know
everything that's
that.
going on. Yeah, I had to let that go.
Okay.
So entrepreneurs out there, that all of you that have 5,000 ideas, because everyone does, right?
Yes.
Don't try and launch them all at the same time. All right. It's just it's just not worth it. It's not worth
Hmm.
the heartache. It's not. Get one off the ground, get that to where it's self-sustaining, and you can do that in short of 2 or 3 years, right? And then take the money that you're making, the profit, to fund your next venture. Okay.
Mm.
So take it from me because I did it. I
No,
tried.
I love that tip.
Jesus.
And I feel like we do, like, even this year, I'm like, okay, you've got to focus
Mm-hmm.
on only a few things
Yes.
because you all of it's half-ass done.
Yes. That's it.
Mhm.
And you're just scraping. It's like I'm doing a little bit over here, and I do a little bit
Yeah,
over here.
nothing is
And if you're
ever.
super focused
Yeah,
on one thing,
yeah.
all these other efforts can go right into this, and that gets that venture off a lot
It's
faster.
so
You know what I'm
hard. Do you
saying?
think sometimes we get, as entrepreneurs, we get caught up in the fun idea
I think it
and
is.
all the,
I think it is.
and
And
then
you
once
can
the real work
tell
starts coming, it's like,
I
oh
want to
no.
jump to that next thing,
Yes,
and we
yes,
start, and you could tell where
yeah.
people really like doing certain things because
Hmm.
they'll always talk about, oh, well, my website, and I put this on, I put that on there. I'm like, okay, but did you do your financial plan? Well, but on my website,
Right. Literally.
So okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So when I launched Startup Sprint, I was into it for like a month or so, and I'm really just developing. And I had my plan for a couple of years, but now it's time to kind of test the market and do these types of things or whatever. And I had a client here or there, just like personal one-on-one. But then my good friend Drew, he approached me. He said, "I heard you were retired," and I was like, "Yeah." He said, "What you doing?" And I was like, "I got Startup Sprint. Why?" He said, "Because I have an opportunity for us to write a grant so we can run a program and do what we love in the community." And I was like, say more. And so he told me about it. We wrote the grant, we got the grant, and we launched a program called 2 Degrees. Okay. And that is under startup. That was under Startup Sprint at the time.
Hmm.
We are now on cohort number 4.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's exciting.
We are now on grant number 3.
Yay.
We have been so successful in launching this and doing everything and doing really, really good work in the community and helping these entrepreneurs, getting them hot connected to the resources that they need. And this is a little bit different than Startup Sprint because the demographic that we're serving are individuals that are in different spots. So
Mm.
we have anywhere from a person that just woke up this morning, decided to start a business, to the person that they have multiple ventures already and they're starting something maybe it's very, very different. And so they really wanted some more direction and guidance on that. And so like they're going from a product to a service or vice versa.
Hmm.
And so we meet them where they are and we get them to the next level. And the key to that is getting them hot connected to the resources in the community. So it's been going really well. So well that we decided to move that out from Startup Sprint, create another company
Okay.
called the Atlas House, and it's a nonprofit, okay, which then opens us up for, makes it easier for us to get grants instead of having to do a fiscal sponsor, and all of that
Hmm.
stuff. Which, by the way, as a for profit, you can get grants. Don't ever think that you cannot. You just sometimes have to have a fiscal sponsor, which will be a nonprofit that will
Mm.
take the grant on your behalf and then give the grant to you, and then y'all come up with a memorandum of understanding (MOU) to figure out how that's going to be, taken care of.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for
So
that tip, because people talk about, oh, but they don't talk about how.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
okay, if I'm a for profit, I can get a grant. What am I supposed to do? But
exactly.
it's all about connecting. And I was at this event on Saturday, and there's one of the lawyers that was there. She talked about how Indianapolis is saturated with nonprofits.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of us that do very similar
Yes.
things.
Yes.
And so instead of creating,
Mm-hmm.
connect with another nonprofit that maybe y'all mission is extremely aligned, and
Exactly.
band together and do it.
Because there's certain things that nonprofits can't do that only a for-profit can do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa. So that's a
Mm-hmm.
nice cohesive.
Mm-hmm.
So we were with the Speakeasy forever, and there were certain things that Speakeasy couldn't do as a nonprofit that we were able to do.
Yeah.
So it was really nice, and then
Yeah.
they let us use their space
Yeah.
for free. So it was a
Mm-hmm.
really good relationship.
Yeah.
And they were our fiscal sponsor for our
Nice.
first two grants.
Nice. And I don't think people talk about that enough,
Right.
or
Right.
at all. Because
Right.
just until you said that really made me think of then having what she said is like, we need to do that. And
Mhm.
so a friend of mine actually was looking to launch her nonprofit, but we both work with young people.
Mhm.
Hers is a different age group, but feeds into what I'm doing. And so we
Mhm.
was like, hey, we're
Yep.
partnering. Like,
Let's do that.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So
But anyway, sorry, I just
no, it's I squirrel moment. What I tell you, right? It's a squirrel moment. But yeah, so we ended up, and that's another thing is, I never wanted to own a nonprofit, okay, because you don't own it. Once you establish it and you have the board owns it. You can be the president of the board, which you might not then get paid, or you can be, say, the executive director or work in the nonprofit, which means you can get fired. You are an employee now of that nonprofit.
fire
So
me if y'all want to.
try it and see what happens. But you really have to have the mentality of, I'm creating this nonprofit for the community.
Yes.
I'm creating it for the cause. If you want a vehicle that's going to give you money and revenue, and that's your goal, then do it for profit.
Absolutely.
Okay? So that you can control it and do whatever you want.
Mhm.
But if you really want to support a cause and you really see that the only way you can do that is through a nonprofit, understand you don't own it. The
Yeah.
community does.
Absolutely.
And you have to go into with that mentality.
Yeah.
When I tell my clients that, they change on the dime. They say,
Oh.
I don't want to do a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Then I want to do a for-profit.
But most people talk about nonprofit. I spoke to my
Mhm.
attorney, and he was like, "You're not gonna like what I'm about to say."
Mhm.
He said, "But why would you want to do that?"
Yeah.
That is like
Why?
the worst idea ever, is to start a nonprofit.
Right.
He said, "You have a for-profit that
Mhm.
funds the nonprofit. The
Mhm.
nonprofit is not the main thing."
No,
Because
absolutely not.
you think you're about to get some money?
Mm-mm.
No.
No,
It's not easy
and
at all.
nonprofits can be very, very profitable. You
But
have United Way out there and all of these other.
they weren't profitable in the beginning. You gotta wait. You gotta
Exactly.
go the long haul.
Exactly.
And so while you're doing that, you got to have this for-profit over here funding you, or you're going to be
Right,
standing on the
because you
side of the
still have
road.
to make money.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that, well, if I have a nonprofit, that means I can't charge. And I'm like, no, because with the Atlas House, we charge for the 2-degree program. We charge. Now, we also have scholarships because we want our program to be accessible,
Yeah.
right? But we still charge because if we don't have a grant, we still got to eat.
Yeah.
We still have to get paid. We still
Yeah.
have to operate the business.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but I'm not here to talk about nonprofits.
Yeah.
That's
Sorry,
not my
we so digress. But anyway, we're gonna have to have another episode about that.
Another episode, yes. But so that took off, and I kind of stopped doing Startup Sprint for a little bit because this was really the work. In the meanwhile, I was like, I got to get back to what I was trying to do. So I got Startup Sprint, Idea to Empire, Atlas House. Okay, I'm not even going to tell you about the women's retreat. But anyway, don't do what Rhonda does. Okay?
That's so
don't
funny.
do that. But I had to make some decision to take some things off my plate because, like we said, I was here and there and everywhere. So I said, well, one of these things is not like the other, and that was Idea to Empire. Okay. And that was the one that I was going to have to grunt the most to get off the ground because it's a new concept in a new platform, all of that. And then I still had to learn some stuff. So I went ahead and put that on the shelf. Then I said, Startup Sprint and Atlas House are very similar in what they do. We serve entrepreneurs at the very least. The demographics are very similar, with that. I said, so I see it feeding in. So I'm starting to integrate my Launchpad Accelerator program from Startup Sprint into the Atlas House. Okay. And so that's how I'm doing that. And then now with Startup Sprint, now I have my 5-day challenge. And so actually, my next one is next week, actually. And so people can sign up. And this is for people that are tire kickers. It's like, I really want some help, but I'm not really sure where I am and where I need to be. This 5-day challenge is really going to help take you there. Okay. It takes you through your idea blueprint, and then your customer journey, your deep customer empathy, and then your rapid, experimentation, and then finally figuring out what your MVP is. I'll take you through all of that in 5 days. And then once you have that, that's a really nice foundation. That's your launch pad to get into the Launchpad Accelerator Program. And then that's your 90-day, from ideation to launch and get you through to that. So that's what I've been working on for the past few months. I finally have a really good marketing company. Hire a marketing company. That's one of the reasons why it takes people 5 years to get to market and 10 years to be in profit enough where their business is self-sustaining. That's the average, is 10 years.
That's crazy.
10 years to be to the point where you can say, I can comfortably quit my job and not have to worry about money because my business is self-sustaining.
And marketing is so key, and you're in the business, so you're not going to be able to do that. So and that's another thing that I'm really, because what we do is very similar, but you have to be able to know that you have to send this stuff out.
Right.
You can't do everything.
Right.
Like, I have a marketing person. I don't want to come up with the idea and create the content, and I got to post the shit.
Right.
Not happening.
It's a lot.
So he tells me everything, every quarter, this is what you need to do.
Yes.
And it has been so helpful. Like, I started a Facebook group for a business. It's a business community group. And I kept it really small because I feel like sometimes these groups get too much, and you don't know people in there. I want it to be very intimate, very intentional about, we got to connect on a different level. And so I came with this idea, and he was like, okay, came out with a strategy. I had over 50 people that joined before 30 days. I was like, oh, so having a marketing person is key, because I had never done it. I was always doing it. I never paid, because I was one of those, I'm not spending that money.
Yeah.
Because I don't really, but no, it.
Yeah. And we think we can do it ourselves, and we can, but it's just at a snail's pace because this is not our expertise.
That part.
You know what I mean? And so that's where, if you have your budget together, all right, and it's also not necessarily that you don't want to hire a marketing person, but you simply cannot. I can't spend $800 a month or $1,200 a month to have somebody continuously work at marketing, for me, or a sales representative. I also have a sales company. Marketing and sales are different, and people don't realize that. So he's working on, once I get leads, I give them to him, and then he works the leads. He calls them up, he cultivates them, whatever, he gives them the offer, and he gets them into the program. And then my first interaction is when they're in the program. Hello, I'm Rhonda. How are you? And then we do the program.
Yeah.
And so,
it's about systems too.
It's about systems.
Yeah.
And having the right team.
Yes.
And the right team doesn't necessarily have to be your employees. They can certainly be outsourced, but that's the key. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to tell. And what's funny is, when I had my first business, Kids Express Home Child Care, right? I ran that for 10 years. I did very little marketing. Social media was not a thing at that time. Okay, so yes, I'm old. Stop it. Social media was not a thing. My business was literally built off of referrals.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a huge key too.
Huge key. All right. So 2 things with that. Number one, you have to understand your industry, because I was in an industry that was not saturated. Okay. That was in high demand, to the point where the government came in and said, I'm going to give you money to start this business. So I got a lot of money to run my business. I got to go through programs for free. I got my degree for free. You know what I'm saying? All of these things that they did, you know what I'm saying, so that they could have quality childcare. That's when the Passive Quality Program came out, all of that kind of stuff. So I had to do very little to market. So I didn't realize that I didn't know how to market
Mm.
when I started this business. And I'm like, I don't understand. I opened up the doors and nobody came in.
Yeah.
What's going on? I
Right.
teach this stuff. Hello.
Right.
This is
No,
what I
for
do.
real. Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, let me take a step back. So even in my seasoned years, okay, I'm still learning
Mm-hmm.
the different things that I need for my business because every business is different, every industry is different.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing that I learned from that experience after reflecting was you have to be so good at your craft that it doesn't matter what happens, people will still come.
Yeah.
Okay, people will still come. I
Mm-hmm.
almost tanked my entire business when I had my daycare. Almost tanked my, and I had to end up. There was a situation. Jesus, I opened up a new location, split up the kids, whatever, because I had people on my wait list, all this kind of stuff. My employees didn't come to work, and I was out of the country.
Oh boy.
I was out of the country, and I came back and I cleaned it up and apologized to the parents. I'm thinking they're definitely not coming back.
Right.
Every single one of them came right on back without a grudge, without a problem, nothing.
Well, you
You know what I
build those
mean?
relationships, and
Because
relationships are so key.
they're key. They're key, you know. But so that's been my path, you know, to date. And I'm really happy where I am now with the startup sprint, and I feel calm because I have people working on things that yes, I could be working on, but they're the experts. So they're going to do it much better. They're going to do it much faster.
Yeah.
And they're monitoring and managing all of that. So I can do what I'm good at, which is developing the business itself.
No,
You
because
know, and
clearly
other
I'm not good at
people.
managing my calendar because we was supposed to interview and I didn't put it on my calendar and she happened to pop up and I'm thinking, hi, it's good to see you. And then she texted me and I looked and I'm like, oh shit. So this is a perfect example of why you cannot do everything. Because when you do, something is going to give a
Yeah,
miss.
something absolutely is going to give.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
you and the what you're doing, like this is a relationship.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't have been here, even though we have a good relationship, that wouldn't have looked good. Business is business, you know what I'm saying? So we
Business is
have to be
business.
very
Time is money.
careful about how we build our relationships and not drop the ball because that could cost money.
Yes.
And my boxing coach told me this. How you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yes.
And you can lose money if you, so.
You sure can. You absolutely can.
I have lost money. I have made, yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
So that's exciting about that. So you feel like, and it seems like you evolved, and business does evolve.
It does.
You know, it starts off one way, and then it kind of molds, and then it kind of goes, and then now you're like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be.
This is it. And the fun thing is, the first year, so it's now a year and a half now. The first year of Startup Sprint, and I came in very strong with my ideas. I had it all written down. I knew exactly what I was going to do. All right. And then here comes Drew, and it changed a little bit. You know, it's like, okay, well, 2 degrees, that's not the Launchpad Accelerator, but, you know, we can work this and see how that works. You know what I'm saying? And then Atlas House, and it changed again, you know. And next thing I know, it didn't look like how I started, but I wasn't in a bad place.
Yeah.
You know, and so I was okay with that pivot. I'm getting back a little bit to where I was in the very beginning with Startup Sprint. Now that 2 degrees is no longer part of that. Okay. But it has evolved based on my experiences, based on me now being more so in the market and understanding what the needs are and the market research, you know, and all those different things that I've done. And so, you have to be willing to pivot, but you have to also understand why you're pivoting and is that going to be good for you or not? Because if you wanted to do A, B, and C, and you constantly over here doing X, Y, and Z, but you really, really want to do A, B, C, and these are the reasons why, then stop doing activities that are going to take you over here and do activities that's going to keep you right here, you know. And so I let myself get taken around.
Yeah, that's so key because I feel like my business would have been further along if I would have. So I focus more on my podcast and nonprofit. I don't make money on none of that. I'm a business consultant.
You are.
Nobody knew that. That doesn't even make any sense.
No.
So now that I have pivoted and I'm like, this is what I do.
Yes.
This comes along with it, but that's not what I'm focused on.
Yes.
I've gotten clients and I'm like, oh, okay. Like
paying clients.
Literally.
It feels good.
It does. It's like,
oh,
okay. Like I should have been doing this years ago.
Yes.
But So again, it's
Yeah.
all learning, and like you said earlier, it's you learn as you go, and that's the fun thing.
Mm-hmm.
I realize I'm such a serious person,
Mm-hmm.
and I take things so personally.
Mm.
And so, like, it doesn't mean that you failed. It doesn't,
Right.
it's not negative
Right.
if you're not where you think you should be.
Right.
Just enjoy the process, and life is going to happen and move the way it's supposed to move.
Absolutely. And it's about, the experience of it all. And for me, everything that I do is a learning experience, you know. And what's funny is I can sit here and, like, if I'm consulting you on your business, I'm like, no, Melissa, because this, you got that or whatever. But then when it's my turn to listen to myself, I'm like, yeah, but, and I hear myself saying the same stuff that my clients tell me
Every time.
every single time. But yeah, it's absolutely about the experience and learning from those experiences, and not just having them and being disgruntled or whatever, but learning, saying, why did it happen this way?
And having a coach.
And having a coach.
So even if
Yeah.
we're a business consultant, we still need to have people that consult
Yes.
us.
Yes. Absolutely. Which is why I have my team, because they'll tell me stuff and I'm like, ooh, I want to do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, is that going to move the needle? Huh? Is that going to move the needle? Maybe not. Then why are you doing it?
Right, yeah.
What do you impact over intensity?
Yeah.
Do the activities that move the needle
Move
in the
the
direction
needle.
you needed to go into.
Yes.
Okay. Did you really need to change the color of your website for the 10,000th time? You did not.
You just was bored, and you could have been doing another
You could have been
task,
doing something else.
and you chose that's
You
what
know
you
what I'm
chose to
saying?
do.
Exactly. And so, just I've really enjoyed this past year, and I've had a lot of great experiences. I'm so happy to have been exposed to the people and the funders, the grant people, that I've been exposed to, and all of those connections.
Yeah.
I've learned some new stuff about the Indianapolis ecosystem, and I'm pretty excited about that. And I'm on another committee in the community. Well, I've been on this committee for a while. We used to call ourselves E3. We're now Equity. Um, what is it called? Equity Exchange.
Oh, okay.
Jesus, she said, I don't know.
I have no idea.
Equity Exchange Indy, where we're working to fill the gaps of the entrepreneurial ecosystem, so that our Black and Brown individuals that are coming through can get the full gambit of what they need, from ideation to exit, literally. And so, just doing that work, it just really fuels me.
I love
good
that.
about it. Yeah.
So what do you have planned coming up this year, or at least this first quarter is over? How'd your first quarter go?
My first quarter went well. Again, a lot of laying the foundation for my new program, which is the Launchpad Accelerator Program. The 5-day challenge is new as well. I have a networking coming up on Monday that hopefully somebody that's sitting over here to my left is going to facilitate the panel.
Let me look at my calendar.
It's called Power Moves, and it is a business panel discussion as well as a mixer.
What time?
6 p.m. to 8 p.m. here at P30.
I'm recording a show at 6.
Jesus. Okay. Well, she's gonna be busy,
and I can't reschedule this one because it's the second one I've rescheduled.
Okay.
Because
well, we won't create bad vibes. That's okay. But next time.
Yes.
But next time
No,
she
yes,
might
you
be
got
there.
Yep.
I'm doing my 5-day challenge every month. It starts the third Monday of each month, and it goes for a week, 5 days. Well, 5 days, and it's just an hour. So from 11 a.m. to 12, and then they get in there and they get all the goodies. It's really nice. And I've got 3 tiers that they can buy into. So I'll give you that. Actually, the website is https://challenge.startupsprint.net.
Okay.
Challenge.startupsprint.net.
Okay.
So join anytime, because I literally have it every single month.
Okay.
And that gives them that jump start, with that. And then from that website, they can go to my website, which is the startupsprint.net. And my website talks about all of the programs that I have: 5-day challenge, the Launchpad Accelerator, everything that I do.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah. Great.
So,
and we're launching something new here.
We are launching something new. Yes. Here at P30, Melissa and I are going to be founding organizers of 1 Million Cups. And that is a program through the Kauffman Foundation. And it's a community-based program where we get entrepreneurs together. They get opportunity to share their businesses and get feedback from the community on, how they can make it better or help them overcome some of the barriers and challenges that they're facing.
That's
So that's
exciting.
going to be very exciting. Coming
Yes.
up in May.
Yes.
Coming
So
up in May.
stay tuned, and I appreciate you thinking of me.
Thank you for
Yeah.
saying yes.
Yeah.
You're going to be a great addition.
Yeah.
So she's going to be the MC. Y'all know why. So
I don't know why.
y'all know why. She
It
knows
is so
why.
funny. So, in January, people do vision boards. But me and my circle of, I call them my sister circle, we did a vision bingo.
Oh.
And so we put on there, and if you get so many across, like we're gonna do something. So it makes it intentional. Because
I like
sometimes
that.
our vision boards are more about a future vision. We don't really hone it in to like, let's put some tangible stuff on there
What are the
that
things
we
you got to do right
actually
now?
can
The actionable
mark
plans.
off.
Yes.
So one of them was, and I didn't even put there, was public speaking.
Okay.
That I saw on one of my friends' board, and I was like, I'll put that on there. Which this is kind of public speaking, but not. But I really am noticing that I need to be in front of a room, and I don't want to be.
Oh, well, this is perfect.
So
this is perfect
ever since I said that, I have been asked on multiple occasions and have done, like, I'm just like, oh my goodness, like I can mark that off like that.
Yes.
And so now I'm looking into going to I want to go to public speaking.
Okay.
Like learn it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're a natural. You really are a natural.
I feel like I am, but when I get up there, like in my head it all sounds great, but then when you go to speak, it doesn't come out, and I forget things, and then.
Well, I haven't seen it. I've seen you in 3 different sessions or situations, rather.
Yeah.
And one of them, you were just told at the last minute that you were going to be hosting the fashion show. Remember that? And you was like, I am.
Oh my God.
But you got up there, and it was just like y'all had practice for 10 days. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
It was amazing.
So,
I'm like, she's such a natural at this.
So that's why I feel like, okay, this is something that is what you're supposed to be doing. So you need to really take a look at what that.
Absolutely.
And public speaking, there is a knack to it. Like you need to be able to story tell.
Yes.
And bring people along.
Yes.
And sometimes I'm too choppy and I'm all over the place.
Yes.
So I want to be able to learn kind of skills on how to navigate that. Absolutely. And to not say those filler words.
Okay.
I say a lot.
Like,
Yeah, because it is distracting.
It can be.
And now that I've like looked into public speaking, when I hear other people, I'm just like, if they say that word one more time, like now I'm counting how many times. So I'm not even paying attention to what you're saying.
Wow. Yeah.
So people do pay attention to it. So I just want to make sure that I'm giving the best.
Well, I'm glad you're leaning into your talents. I'm happy about that.
Yeah. So I've heard of Toastmasters is really good.
Toastmasters is very good. Yes. Yeah. And then there is Rainmakers. I don't know if they're still around.
I've heard of them before. Yeah.
But they do now. It's not necessarily extemporaneous speaking like Toastmasters, but what they do is they give you an opportunity to pitch anything that you want to pitch, your business, project, whatever that is, and it's on the spot. So not only do you get that practice, in a professional setting, but then it's a networking event too.
Yeah.
And so when I was a student, I got an opportunity to go to a lot of those for free.
Yeah, nice.
Because they charge a couple dollars.
Yes, they do.
Homegirl didn't have a couple dollars.
No, for real, real.
But she went to one at Peterson's and got a free full course meal.
Nice.
For free.
I've never been to Peterson's. I've always wanted to go there.
You were never gonna go here. They closed down. I'm sorry.
Did they close down?
Yeah, they're closed.
So the one on 96th Street?
It's gone.
Oh no.
It is gone.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Yes. You said you won't be going. It's so funny. I didn't even catch what she was saying.
You won't be going.
That is funny.
But so yeah, a couple of places, Yeah. But the reason I say I like that you're leaning into because when it comes to entrepreneurship, okay, that's one of the things that I help people do is lean into what are your talents, what are your skills and abilities, what are your passions, so that you can then choose a product or service, right, that you want to get into that fuels all of that, So now it feels natural, and you can kind of navigate it, just because right, intuitively. with that. But you have way more fun with it,
You
and it's
do.
definitely going to last a lot
Yeah.
longer. And not only do I help to marry those skills, but then I help you find a business that's going to be the most profitable because we find one that's in high demand. Okay. Because it's like, you make doilies. Okay. And they're pretty, they're cute, and all your friends and family love them, and you've sold a couple, right? But is there a mass market for that?
Right.
Right. So that just might be a passion that's just a hobby on the side, you know what I'm saying? Versus you enjoy speaking, you know,
Do I?
and you
I haven't
do.
caught up to that yet. I don't even know what to say. Like,
Well,
I
when you
don't
start
was
making millions, because there people are paying top dollar
no
to
literally.
bring
You
in.
know Les Brown?
Yeah. Yes.
I was on a call with him, and he says, "Learn to tell your story well, and it will
Hmm.
make you millions."
Yes. That's it. I mean, it's oh my goodness. When
Hmm.
I worked at Ivy Tech, I don't know if I should say the name. When I worked at a school here, the money that they would pay some people to come in and speak at graduation or
Yeah.
at some type of training or whatever. My goodness,
Hmm.
for half an hour. Okay.
We're talking about tens of thousands of
Yes.
dollars. Yeah.
So that is a market that's
Hmm.
huge. So if you wanted to get into that or
Yeah.
childcare, so I help that. That's through my business blueprint
Hmm.
um, workshop that I do, and it's business idea blueprint workshop that I do that help people get that together. That's critical, y'all.
Yeah.
Making sure that you're marrying your passions, your skills and abilities with market demand.
And you have to. So I love to use the example of the doily. So
Mm-hmm.
I love to bake.
Okay.
Nobody knows that. That's like a hobby. And
Okay.
here lately, I've been baking more.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a friend who she was like, "Why don't you sell this?" And I'm thinking I could,
Mm-hmm.
or I could keep it a hobby. Because
That's right.
sometimes that's okay. Squirrel. Oh, I
Right.
can go over here and make this bread.
Exactly.
And no, you're not
Exactly.
doing it.
Yes.
Stop. This
All
is a
because you're
hobby.
good
This
at
is what
something.
you love to do in your
Yes.
spare time to help relax, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So not everything that we enjoy doing needs to be a business.
Yes. Which is another reason why I put my idea to empire shelf,
Hmm.
because my VR and gaming experience, I do that to relax
Yeah.
and to have fun.
Hmm.
I don't have to get like, oh, I got to get on there and meet with somebody. Oh, I got to do
Right.
that.
No, for
Oh,
real.
that's
Like,
not fun.
yeah. Now if I bake, I gotta do 200. What?
You know.
I'm not doing that.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, and you want it to be for you.
Yes.
You want it to be for you. I love
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
love
So
it.
this is good. So I'm excited. So definitely keep posted about the 1 million cups, and then about
Mm-hmm.
her. I'll have her information in the description. And yeah, do you have any parting words? I always ask, what have you learned about yourself through this
Mm.
journey? I know it's probably different from the first time,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think I asked that question then. And this is something I just
Mm-hmm.
started new because we've learned stuff about
Yeah.
ourselves. So does anything stand
Yeah.
out?
Um, I've learned so many things. Um, I think for me, not being afraid to collaborate with
Mm.
others. I've had a couple of issues with trying to bring on partners, and neither one of them worked out. And one of them could have turned really, really badly because
Mm.
she had access to our bank account, which
Mm.
had a couple dollars in there.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then she fell off the earth for like 2 months.
Mm.
And young and dumb at the time, I didn't even think first thing go close out the account or
Right.
anything like that,
Yeah.
And then she finally surfaced, and I'm like, yo, we're supposed to be running this business together,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm calling, texting, whatever, even came by your house and nothing, what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And she was like, yeah, I've had some issues or whatever. I decided I don't want to be in business and everything, and I apologize. I went ahead and took myself off the account. And that was the first time I even thought about Jesus, the account. And I went immediately to the bank. Everything
Mm-hmm.
was there.
Yeah.
So God was looking out for me. Thank
Mm-hmm.
God she was a good person. But
Yeah.
so that made me very skittish about collaborating, partnering
Yeah.
with, especially with sensitive things like that.
Yeah.
But this time around, trusting in God, and myself and making good decisions, what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So I think that's the biggest lesson for me is it's
Mm-hmm.
okay. You just got to know what you need to know, and you got to be diligent with that, and don't be young and dumb. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
yeah, and because of that, I've had so many wonderful experiences.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for being on for the second time. And yeah, I'm going up on my 3 years that I've been doing this.
Hallelujah. Okay,
May will be 3 years.
congratulations.
I know.
Yes. Okay, you have to have a really big episode.
So I know somebody
Right.
was like, "You got to do something." I'm like,
Yes.
"Yeah."
Yes.
So it's been great. Now I'm on
Okay.
YouTube. I didn't start off on YouTube, so it's
Mhm.
definitely evolved, and
Yes.
who knows what's going to happen. I'm
Okay.
just allowing it to just kind of take shape, and this is the one thing that I don't have to put too much effort into or
Yeah.
thought, which is nice.
Yes. Because you're natural. Y'all heard her say it.
That's what they say. Because I'd be like, I don't know what I'd be saying. Like, we could never recreate this. I don't know what I said half the. What? I said that? Oh,
Mhm.
my bad. No.
Mhm.
But no. But thank you for listening. And this has been Melissa Shaw with Our Generation, where we educate, empower, and inspire. And we are out.